Welcome back, everybody. We're here for Rivalry Week. We got a pretty impactful one, and I think we had gotten, or y'all got into a discussion before we started the recording as far as Bama on the road taking on Auburn. In Jordan here. This is a big one. Bama's sitting at 10 right now. I didn't look at tonight's ratings yet, but I think they might still be sitting there at 10. But you're a team right now where all you gotta do is win and you get into the SEC championship game. You're still looking at the playoffs as a big indicator right now. The thing is that you're coming off of this game against you had the Oklahoma loss, and then you bounced back pretty well and got a lot of people in to get some reps against Eastern Illinois. So, I mean, hey, y'all are the resident Bama fans. Tell me how y'all feeling going into this one, going into rivalry weekend.
I'll never say the S word on this show. I'm not that type of Bama fan that's gonna say I'm blank, but this is the type of game you don't want to be in a Bama as a Bama fan, just because it is a true must win. And it just creates a stereotype of Alabama, Auburn, and the Iron Bowl of a must win type of situation for either one of these teams. And I think that with Auburn, they are to me the bigger story just because they're putting a quarterback in who is, in my opinion, top five quarterback, freshman quarterback in the country. I think that's his true talent because he's a true dual threat. And you saw a little bit against Mercer. I understand it was Mercer. Yes, it's Mercer, but he just had everything in his bag that game. And it's just like, what are you going to do to truly stop this kid if you don't have enough film on him to really just stop this kid? And I don't think he's going to go do the same thing against Bama, but I do think he can be in a position where he keeps drives alive. He keeps the game alive for Auburn offense that's just been lackluster all year. And Auburn has a couple players that can make a couple plays here and there that can keep the game close. Bama has not shown a complete game. And I've been watching a lot of Bama tape. They probably haven't shown a complete game all season. I don't think so. Maybe against first three quarters against Georgia, maybe I think you really see Bama at their peak. But I think Bama just has to figure out how can we put a whole four quarters together. This is the last chance where you truly gonna have an opportunity to do that, where it's not gonna just bite you in your ass. So I think this game is 100% stereotypical for what Bama's going into. You got to beware of Jordan Hare and understanding that you can go down there at Auburn and lose this game. You can lose this game, but you have all the tools in your bag to win it. You win this game, everything you've been fighting for this season is right there in front of you in aspects of SEC championship and the playoff berth. Actually, almost in that case, having a home playoff game, which is desperate for Bama right now. Sean, we talked about it a little bit before got on the actual recording tonight when Bama's almost in a place where this week's ranking of 10 is almost worse than last week's ranking of 10. Because it's like, all right, cool. We knew that last week it was kind of just let's just throw something on the board. We're gonna put Bama behind Notre Dame. Not really much sense into that. But Bama now being behind Notre Dame is kind of like, well, Bama's being set up to where it's almost like being set up to not make the playoffs. Because if you beat Auburn, you're in the SEC championship as a two-loss SEC team. You beat Texas A&M, you're great. You're guaranteed in. But if you lose to Texas A&M, it's the worst case scenario for a Bama fan and Bama as a team. And thinking that now we have to debate and argue for I don't know how many years in a row that we are the better team out of these other two-loss teams, these other one-loss teams, even though we got three losses. It's a tough debate to even have nowadays in the playoffs, and that's just what it's based off upon. We're not in a situation where we need to expand the playoffs. I can't stand that conversation. 16 to 18 teams is too much. It's way too many teams. You're not being penalized for losing like you should be. But 12 teams, having that borderline teams, that bubble teams like Bama is right now, that's what college football needs to be about. And this game right here just emphasizes rivalry week. And Auburn's whole game plan is just to F Bama season up. And Bama fans, I don't think it's going to happen. I see at least a 10 to 15 point victory in this game right here just because I think we got our consistency back with our offense. But I think that overall, this game is a beware of Jordan Hare type of game. I'm not going to say the S word for us. I'm not going to say it. What you think, Sean?
Man, listen here. I was talking with a buddy of mine yesterday about this, and when I found out this game was a 6:30 kick, well, first of all, you look at the schedule, it's there. You say, okay, it's a problem regardless.
Right.
Um, it's a bigger problem now because it's a night game. It's another even bigger problem. That is because I've always been a fan of Auburn's roster. Auburn put together, Hugh Freeze put together a really nice roster. Now they're young, but he's got a receiver that can go up there and get it like Calvin Johnson. I mean, if you get some of these cats, you get them rolling. Durkin's not a bad coach. This man's been a head coach before. Every doggone ingredient that Auburn needs to make this a win, I think is already there. Every ingredient is sitting down there. And as a matter of fact, I believe they actually down there, somebody down there with a witch's hat on, stirring the pot already. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, in Tuscaloosa, this team is a different team than we saw last year, and I can appreciate that. I'm still not convinced. Now, part of the reason why I'm not convinced is because this is not a Nick Saban coach team, and we're seeing. I'm not going to say mediocrity, but what we're seeing is Kalen DeBoer in a position to where if Alabama gets behind in this game, I don't think that he's the guy that can pull them out of a hole against Auburn. And I'm talking about any hole. I'm talking about a 1-point deficit. Okay. At any point in time in the game. And that's Auburn coming out and kicking a field goal first. If Alabama does not have the lead in this game and have the lead the entire game, they can lose this game. At any point in time, if that crowd in Auburn gets going and they get moving, it's going to start that way. It's going to be up to Kalen DeBoer to shut them up and do it quick. Because if they're mixing coverages up like A&M did, if they're getting pressure on Simpson, if the crowd is really loud like it was, and they're having communication problems, and you start to see this deer in headlights look from DeBoer with his hand on his hip and all this stuff, and the play sheets kind of on his backside, all this and that or whatever, Bama's going to lose that game. Bama's going to lose that game. Bama has a 50-50 shot to lose this football game. 50-50, in my opinion. My prediction, Bama can't even kick a field goal. We cannot even kick it. If we needed a field goal, brother, I don't think we can get it. I do not feel good. I don't feel good. I do not feel good. We can't run the ball. I do not feel good. And the more I talk about it, what the hell do we do good enough to beat Auburn? Dang, man. I get to talk about the team and I get so mad, man. I wasn't even upset when we lost Oklahoma. I wasn't even mad. That's how I knew something was wrong. I wasn't even mad. Sorry, y'all.
No, I feel with that, man. You know what's so crazy about being a Bama fan? I play a lot of college football on my PlayStation. I got a job offer to go to Auburn. I went for one season. I left. I was like, you know what? This ain't even worth it. I don't even know why I'm coaching this team right here. I went to Tennessee somewhere. I was like, I'd rather be at Tennessee than play with Auburn. I was like, I just hate them so much, and it's just so much hate between that team. I was just like, I wonder if there's a tree somewhere we could just go and just get rid of somewhere down there. I just wanted to replicate it just because this is not shaping out to be Bama's game, man. We got something to go against right here in Auburn. Yeah. It's gonna be a tough one.
And then look here. Now, people have been talking about this already, and this is not anything related to this game or not. This is related to Kalen DeBoer and his comfort level in Tuscaloosa. If for some reason he drops this game, I'm telling you, they go. I don't even know if he needs to make it back to Tuscaloosa. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, like he will. I think he takes the Penn State job. If he loses to Auburn, he goes to Penn State because they want it. And honestly, I think Penn State will be a good fit for the guy. You know what I'm saying? And the jury is still out, but my thought process is this guy has already not been able to even closely duplicate what he gave him on the platter. You know what I'm saying? No one's scared of you. Nobody. Matter of fact, folks laugh at you now when they beat you. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of bad, man. Kind of bad. And I'm sorry, Bama. I'm a fan. I'm always been a fan. I always love you. You know what I'm saying? This be your home, all that, but lose this one. Lose this one. lose this one. Let's see just how bad it can really be. I'm talking about we could be back in like post Bear Bryant days when he retired and then Bill Curry came in and we just sucked. That's exactly what it's gonna be. We've read this book before, Bama fans. We have been down this road once before. History can and will repeat itself again. Just be careful tomorrow on Saturday night. Be careful, please.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie though. I'll be right there with you in a lot of those facts about everything. The only thing I would hate about this phase of this game is that the Egg Bowl is before the Iron Bowl. That's the only thing I hate about it because the only thing I really heard that was so crazy about Lane Kiffin was that the job that he's gonna be at next year is not even open yet. And I was like, you know what? If there was a way that they would try to get Debo out of there, is if you lose to this team right here in Auburn. And I feel like even with Jalen Milroe as your quarterback and you lost to Auburn, that would be better than this one. Like to me, you got a quarterback that could really be top tier quarterback, but I feel like we've just, and I felt it after the Georgia game last year. I feel like we just saw the tip of the iceberg. Like I just feel like not even tip of the iceberg, like tip of the mountain when it came to Debo's offense. I felt like Ryan Grubb this year was going to have a little bit more depth to it, but maybe we've just seen the tip of the mountain in the offense, and we've just seen the best our offense can be, and it's just not enough. So it's just kind of like our defense. Man, they're opportunistic. They're the type of defense to keep you in games. They're a championship defense, if you really ask my opinion about it. But our offense is far from it. And I think that this game will have more of a balanced offense when it comes to the run. But I'm still only maybe thinking 17 to 24 points.
Yeah, and Auburn's got some dudes, man. Auburn's got dudes. They are not short of talent. They just didn't have anyone to motivate him and coach him. And if Durkin does that, if he's doing that right now this week, when they get on that, when they do the Tiger Walk or whatever, if they're ready for this game, like they should be, because I believe if Auburn wins this game, I think they're bowl eligible. I think not that it even really matters. But Durkin's also he's coaching for a job. Maybe not Auburn, but all this coaching movement going on. Someone's going to vacate a job that he could get. You know what I'm saying?
And then the quarterback is so perfectly well planned this season. Like it's almost like the comparison between like Auburn playing their freshman quarterback versus Colorado trying to play their freshman quarterback. I know. Well, really can't say it's two different type of how the season played out. Both of them needed a quarterback. Both of them had a starting quarterback. Auburn just said we're gonna rock with this guy until we can't. We're gonna rock with these two guys until we can't, without playing our freshmen. Dion almost wasted the boys' freshman down there. And I'm like, Deuce is in a position right now where after they took that number 2 from him, he got a little vengeance on his back. He's like, y'all took my Cam Newton number down here in Auburn from me. I got to be number 9 now. I think that's his number. And he out there with a vengeance, like he gonna ball out and show y'all what a true talent is. Then your second start to beat Bama, we've seen the type of the teams that go in there and beat Debo and what their swagger looks like is, and it's the type of swagger he's got. Diego Pavia, the John Mateers, the that type of just swagger. And I'm not saying Bama's gonna lose this game. I think Bama's actually gonna pretty handily win this game, but the scenario of these doomsday scenarios is in effect for this game. So I'm really just kind of the atmosphere of I'm not overly impressed by Bama and I'm not overly disappointed by Bama. I'm just kind of like, we're gonna see how they're gonna play in this game. If they lose, I wouldn't really care unless they fire Debo. That's the only way I'll actually get hyped about this whole situation. But if they win, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to the SEC championship for Bama and what their playoff position might look like if they win this game. So we're gonna see what's coming forward, man. What you think about the last little piece about this, Van?
Nothing really. I think y'all hit everything on the nail. I think when we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when it comes to DeBoer, though, just something to keep an eye on. And the same thing like the South Carolina game when they went to South Carolina. It's Kalen DeBoer shines, or not so much shines, but he coaches his best for the big game scenarios. It's the little games where you're going on the road against a team that you should kick the teeth in with the talent that you have. Those are the games that he struggles with. And so this is, like y'all said, this is lined up perfectly for one of those type of letdown games, from him. You've already had the letdown at Oklahoma. And my only mindset of it is, and you haven't really heard any whispers besides people up north about, hey, has he been contacted, or have people started reaching out to him about potentially taking that scapegoat and going and coaching somewhere else? Has the pressure of being at Bama been a bit much for him? Does the Penn State job look more appealing to him? Some of these other openings that are out there that are not in the SEC, but kind of up north in his range of motion that he is more accustomed to, so to speak. So does that wane in on your mindset in the same kind of situation like an Ole Miss where you're lined up to go to not only the SEC championship game but the playoffs, and you're talking about maybe a coaching change because of lackluster losses that you've had in the 2 seasons you've been at Bama. So that's the only thing that I'm thinking about going into this game from them.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that too. And when you think about him as a coach and losing those type of games, I was just thinking about it might be 5 to 6 coaches in the college football realm today that just do well under pressure. In aspects of just like doing what they're supposed to do in these type of games. I'm not even gonna try to name the teams' names, but there's a couple coaches out there that you can just say, you know what, if they were at Bama, they can handle the pressure. Debo just doesn't seem like he's the coach to handle the true pressure of what Bama is, and it's the pressure of being like a Georgia. Like you only got one loss per season. To be honest with you, in the realm we're in today, you can afford 2 losses. Maybe I can't even say yeah. We haven't seen a 3-loss team make the playoffs, so you can't even afford 3 losses. But you
Yeah.
can afford 2 losses in this type of realm we're in today. And Debo just is a coach that is going to lose a couple games a season. He just is that guy. And for Bama, you might not be the guy long term. You might have just been the transition. And that's okay. You wasn't in a bad position for Bama, but for Bama's coaches needs, we either need a guy from like the NFL or a guy that's a proven person that can handle pressure no matter what the fan base is thinking of you, what the realm of the college football world is thinking of you. You're going to go out there and play your game each week in and week out. And I don't know if there's a lot of coaches that can do it, or if any coaches aren't available today that'll actually make that jump and make that switch. Because I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to do it. He's going to make his announcement probably way before if this Bama job comes available. So it's not going to be him. But the next coach that we have, even after Debo, however long he is, it's got to be a guy that says, I can handle the pressure of being a Bama coach, not just on the field, but in the actual conversation of where you are ranking wise among other coaches in. Bama's in a position right now, Sean. We're far away from national championship, if you ask me.
Yeah, we are. And DeBoer, I think before he got to Alabama, I think his record, I think he had lost like 13 games. I'm not sure how many seasons that was, but it was more than two or three. And I think he's already up to 5 or 6. I mean, so I mean, if you're someone that doesn't like to lose, like most of these coaches are, they're wired really different. If he's a true competitor, he says, "Hey, I'm gonna look in the mirror. I'm in the SEC now. I'm the toughest conference in the world. I'm coaching one of the best, arguably the best team in the country, or the best team arguably ever to put his football uniform on. That's a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of pressure. Maybe you didn't need to run the ball at Washington. Maybe what Grubb does up there in the Pacific Northwest was good enough. You didn't have to pound it, man. But I can't tell you how many teams have won an SEC championship that did not run the ball effectively, man. You know, I'm
Especially
talking about
that Daniel
consistently.
Hill, like Daniel Hill. I love
Yeah,
Jalen Miller. I love all these other guys. AKD. I love all of them. Daniel Hill,
he's the guy.
he's a guy. That's a true guy. And the fact that you don't really give him the ball more than 15 times a game is bizarre.
Yeah, it tells me you don't want to run it for real. I mean, you're doing it because you just got a running back there that you need to, I don't know. But, it's, Bama can catch lightning in the bottle and surprise everybody that's in front of them. They do have the talent offensively to do that. And like you said, Drew, defensively, they can be as elite and as opportunistic as anybody else in the country. You put all that stuff together. That's why I say they have the tools to win a championship because they got it on both sides of the ball. We just hadn't seen it come together in 11 weeks yet. So
Right.
that's what bothers me.
Yeah, yeah, true that. Well, everybody enjoy the weekend, enjoy your Thanksgiving, enjoy these games. We'll circle back after this week. I'm pretty sure we'll have a ton to talk about once this weekend is settled in and a lot of these games have been decided as far as any shakeups that are out there that could be happening. So until then, y'all hit the like button, leave a comment. We'll get to it. Hit the subscribe button. We need those subscriptions if you're sitting here watching. We've got a lot of foot traffic coming in. All it takes is a second to hit that subscribe button to get some good content. So until then, keep tuning in and we will see y'all next time.
Oh, yeah.